In 1945, Japan launched the world's first intercontinental missile, and it was made out of paper. They were called Fugo balloon bombs. Japan built over 9,000 giant paper balloons filled with hydrogen, packed them with high explosives, and launched them directly into the jet stream, 5,000 miles across the ocean to bomb North America. Hundreds actually made it to the US mainland. But when Americans started finding them in the woods, the US government did something crazy. They enforced a total media blackout. Zero news reports. Complete radio silence. Why? Because if Japan didn't know the bombs were landing, they'd think the plan failed. It worked. Japan canceled the program in April 1945. But just weeks later in Oregon, a church picnic found one in the woods, resulting in the only civilian mainland deaths of World War II. Researchers believe hundreds of unexploded balloon bombs are still buried in remote parts of Western Canada and the US today. What if I told you one secret project changed the world forever? In 1942, the US launched the Manhattan Project, the most secret scientific mission in history. Over 130,000 people worked on it, but most had no idea what they were actually building. Led by brilliant scientists like J. Robert Oppenheimer, the project created the world's first atomic bomb. On July 16, 1945, the first nuclear explosion lit up the New Mexico desert. Less than a month later, atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, helping bring World War II to an end, but at an unimaginable human cost. One secret project. One invention. A moment that changed history forever. Subscribe for more incredible history in under a minute. Everything you think you know about D-Day is totally wrong. The Allies didn't win June 6th just with massive firepower. They won it with inflatable rubber tanks. Operation Fortitude created an entire fake army commanded by General Patton using dummy planes, fake radio chatter, and double agents. Hitler was so convinced the real attack was coming somewhere else that he slept through the actual invasion, and his generals were too terrified to wake him up. By the time the panzers moved, Normandy was already secured. Hit subscribe for the history secrets they skipped in school. Edgar Allan Poe wrote the darkest stories in history, but his own real-life death was darker than anything he ever wrote. On October 3, 1849, Poe was found collapsed in a gutter outside a Baltimore tavern. But here's where it gets bizarre. He wasn't wearing his own clothes. He was wearing cheap, filthy rags that didn't fit. He was delirious, couldn't explain what happened, and kept screaming for a man named Reynolds. So what happened? The leading theory? Cooping. 19th century gangs would kidnap people, drug them, force them to change clothes, and drag them from polling station to vote illegally over and over. Others say rabies or a brain tumor. 4 days later, Poe's heart gave out. His final words? Lord help my poor soul. Drugged, kidnapped, or poisoned? Comment your theory below. Did you know, retirement didn't exist for most of human history? For thousands of years, people worked until they died. There was no retirement age, only family support if you became too old to work. Everything changed in 1881, when German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck introduced the world's first national old age pension. Workers would receive a government pension at age 70. Here's the twist. Most people didn't even live that long. The program mainly helped the few who outlived the average lifespan. Even more surprising? Bismarck was a conservative leader, yet when critics called his plan socialism, he simply replied, "Call it socialism or whatever you like." The idea spread across the world, and by 1935, the United States had its own social security system. One bold idea from the 1800s changed retirement forever. What if I told you? There's a secret underground city beneath Washington, D.C. Hidden below the U.S. Capitol is a network of tunnels connecting major government buildings. Lawmakers use an underground subway to travel between offices without stepping outside. There are also secure bunkers and emergency facilities built during the Cold War, designed to keep the government operating during a nuclear attack. Most tourists walk right over it, never realizing an entire hidden world exists beneath their feet. Would you explore it? Follow for more unbelievable American history.